Hi, welcome to the November 28th, 2023 Buchanan Workshop. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Let's see. So, this evening, we're going to have a discussion on capital projects. I've asked Scott to come in to tell us, there was some conversation, so to tell us what things you need for the department. So come on up, Scott. Scott Horton, our highway foreman.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Thanks for having me. The only thing that I brought up with me was I was told to talk about the backhoe or whether to get a backhoe or a skid steer. I gave Marcus other information about prices for a new plow truck in the future and a smaller dump truck. Today, a little more updated prices on those that we would want to get in the future. But so I know I talked to Anthony, and Anthony's talked to me in the past about getting either a backhoe or a skid steer or an excavator, and we thought that a backhoe would probably be better for us. So that's what we were thinking about getting.
And did you get any prices on those?
Yes.
What they cost now?
So I want to go, let me go through some of the numbers for
Yeah.
the
Okay,
board's
good.
board information. So originally, we were talking about a skid steer and a bobcat between DPW and the sewer department. Talking in conjunction with everybody to say we do one backhoe, everybody can share the same backhoe whenever it's necessary. So the prices for those two pieces of equipment originally was about $119,000 for the two other pieces of equipment. The backhoe is $158,000. So that's $39,000 more per se to get it. But just to give you an idea about number-wise, if we wanted to pay that out of pocket, the $158,000, that would be like almost a 3.5% increase. If we do a bond, if it was a 15-year bond, that would be a 0.32% increase in taxes. So financially, a bond would be better per se, with that using the current interest rates. Then it added other items because the amount is so small to go to a bond. So that we talked about the 1992 Mack plow truck that needs to be replaced. That's about $300,000. And then to replace the 2011 Chevy dump truck, that's $80,000. So those items, the Mack truck is 0.61% increase, 0.61. And the dump trucks is a 0.16% increase. So that's to let you know that it's below a 1% increase when we start adding everything together. So those are the items that we were talking about DPW. We also talked about originally about a storage building to house the premium the equipment, but the number came out excessively high. We originally thought it was about 100, like 200.
Well, the first
Go ahead.
place I talked to, just for the materials alone, they were saying it was $75,000, and they said, well, you double that, and that's how much the building would be. So I figure about 150. Well, then I talked to, I think it's Kramer Brothers, I believe that is in Kruger's, and they told me to go. They worked on our, fixed up our garage where the garbage truck is kept, that metal building there. And so I talked to them, and they told me to use this company through Sourcewell, where we wouldn't have to get bids. And this company through Sourcewell would then use Kramer Brothers to build it. And it was much higher than I expected, and much higher than, and for that was $631,000 from when I originally, when he said it would be higher, I thought maybe he was going to say 200 or maybe a little, but now we're talking like over 600 for the size that we wanted. So now I think we might have to think of some other alternative, whether we just maybe get a cement slab and a roof and keep it open maybe, or something, just to keep some of the equipment out of some of the elements, because we're tight in the garage now, and if we were adding more, like the backhoe, we can fit the backhoe in, we'll have to take something out to fit it in the garage. So
what about these, I see on these companies on TV that have those metal buildings? Is that,
well, I thought that's what we were looking into, but they asked if we wanted heat, and I was told that we should get heat for it, and that, I guess, upped the price. And I was looking for something. I had the specs on this, but I was looking for something 70 feet long, about 40 feet wide, and 19 feet high. It's basically the space in between the garage and the playground, that fenced-in area. It doesn't go all the way back to the fence of the pavilion. It goes back to where the bathrooms jut out, and that's as far back as it would go to that wall. That was my idea to where to put it, but then this is the price that I got, which was a little more expensive than I anticipated. So
the only other item, taking that building out of the way because the amount is still high, was the other discussion with the fire engine that we talked with the fire chief, and that was to replace that one engine, and then not to replace the rescue truck. Well, the rescue truck was scheduled to be replaced 2 years from now for another $300,000. So that was $850,000 for the new engine. So those were the major items, capital project that has a more than 15-year useful life that can be bonded for. Put everything together, if we do a bond, it'll be a 2.84% increase. If the village board want to go with that, but no matter what we do is, if we want to buy any of this piece of equipment, if we don't take the bond to June or July of next year, the first payment won't be until the year after. So we can actually cut that in half and do a small percentage 1 year, small percentage. So let's say it's 3% increase. We could do a 1.5% increase the year coming, and another 1.5% increase in the coming year, and then do everything in one shot, and then that we can stretch out the increases. So those are the major items, and that's what the cost would be to do a bond issue for this point, to do all the items. So I can separate, add, whatever you want, but let's give you an idea of what we're talking about.
Well, there's other items as far as, there's needs with the pool, the sewer treatment plant. I know Bob, mentioned about the digital sign. So there's other things to consider.
So on the sewer treatment plant, supposedly, grant or no grant, the money comes out of the Entergy money. So I didn't include any of the project for the treatment plant, assuming that $7 million set aside, according to the agreement, that would be used to offset any cost to the village. So I'm anticipating no expense out of the taxpayers for that one.
Okay.
So which would be good. The sign, they want to do the sign, again, that's money we can probably take out of the general fund, or the remaining balance of the fund balance, and not have to, because that sign has to have a 20-year useful life, so we don't have to borrow for that. So I'm just thinking things that have a 15-year useful life, so we can spread it out over time. And that's, looking at the project list we have, those are major items. The pool is a totally unknown. That could be $500,000,
yeah.
depending on what that project's gonna be. I can't think of anything else that really has a more, the pool would have a useful life, but that could be a lot of work. It takes some time to get approved from the Department of Health as well.
And that might end up being a Pandora box, and Bob would
Right.
know best over there.
Can we circle back to the building?
Absolutely.
Who did the school district use in relation to the building that they put up over by the administration?
that, I didn't talk to the school district.
It was the same company that that did the turf.
I think Sports Tech.
DeRosa?
Tech, yeah.
What's the sports tech?
It was the Rose.
DeRosa.
Oh,
DeRosa
DeRosa.
Sports Tech?
They
Okay.
built the field, they also did the building.
Okay.
Okay. And
So-
they're doing the pickleball court in Peekskill too.
So maybe
We can
it's
get a
worth
price
a
from
while
them.
to explore that option as
Yep,
well?
we can call the Rosa tomorrow. I got
Okay.
their phone number.
So you're currently at capacity within the garage?
As far as like any vehicles go, yes. I mean, we could fit, if you have smaller items, we could fit in, and we can,
And we feel that all the vehicles should be garaged?
I I think they last longer if they're a garage. And we can rearrange some things when the ice skating rink goes. They're stored in those big blue storage bins. We were talking, at least I haven't mentioned it to Marcus, but we're talking about putting air vents in the storage bins, and then we can put some, like, say, our cement mixer in there, or some of the gas powered things. Then it'll be vented, so you're not
Right.
having gas build up in the vent. But so like some of the smaller things you could probably store in there, free up a little room. And one of the things with the garage, when I don't know 40 years ago or whatever, they built this gas room in the garage, and they built it in one of the most inconvenient spaces.
It's right in the middle of the garage.
And it takes up, if they put it in a corner, it would have freed up so much space, but they put it like kind of right in the middle where it's kind of a wasted space. So, I mean, I understand why they built it, they had to build it, but it just wasn't good placement. So you're losing space there too.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So,
And you said we had money in a capital fund? Is there any money?
Yeah, we have the fund balance that we discussed over the last 2 years, like about $1.4 million
Right. Mhm.
of extra fund balance that we can use to offset the cost of this as well if you wanted to. I would recommend not to do it. I'd rather have that money set aside for emergencies and
Yep.
for, 3% increase over 2 years. If you're going to end this 15-year useful life, borrow the money. That way you have the money sitting in the bank to take care of any emergency that might happen, or something that might happen during the year that you want to do, and then we could always borrow the money later on. So, to me, if we're planning for something, plan it accordingly to last for the life of the asset.
So bundling all this stuff together, say, what actually are you gonna, what are we looking at spending, like, in the nearest future?
The only item we're talking about is the backhoe.
Yeah.
To
The
replace all
backhoe's a necessity, I
The backhoe is
think,
the
yeah.
major issue. The dump truck and the plow truck, well, it's gonna be 2 years from now.
Okay.
But I was trying to get everything into lump sum, because
Yeah.
if you get less than $1 million or less, it's very hard to sell the bonds.
Yeah.
We're talking about everything to get about exactly almost $2 million.
Okay.
We'll get probably a better interest rate, and we get more people bidding on it. That's why I try to lump everything together.
Is that something that we would look into for where that pipe's sagging on, could we pile that in there as well?
We actually applied for the grant, that's the other
Right,
thing, we
yeah.
applied for the grant for that,
Right.
and for the boiler, and that's on my notes. I haven't received, the application have been submitted, they have been accepted, but I haven't got a response back in regards to being awarded yet, but yeah.
confirmation,
We can
right.
add that $90,000.
Well, I mean, that's something that I see as a necessity.
Correct,
I mean, as far as if the grant money doesn't work,
correct.
then that is something you could add in there as well.
Mm-hmm. And what I would like, since we're talking about this, is we can always adopt a bond resolution now, whenever the board wants to do it, but not borrow the money till June or July. And anything changes, we can always modify the resolution and not move forward, and then we can see how that goes as well. So at least we're being proactive in regards to the
Yeah.
process.
So what I wanted to ask you, there was money from Entergy for the final agreement that was supposed to go towards the boiler.
Correct.
So, since we're not using that, because we're using the other grant money for that, so where is that 130?
That money's sitting in the
It's
capital
still-
fund right now,
it's-
absolutely.
Okay, so
Yep.
that's in a capital fund, it's not in the fund balance.
That's correct.
Okay, so why wouldn't we use that capital, that money that was meant to go to the furnace?
We could, but we haven't been awarded the grant yet, so.
Oh, no, but I'm saying for the backhoe. Because that's,
You're saying only if we're awarded the grant?
Only if we're
Right.
awarded the grant, we haven't been awarded the grant yet. The
oh,
two-
I'm not talking about the grant, I'm talking
No, the
about-
$100,000 that we got
Oh,
from
I see what you're
Entergy
saying, the money
Yeah.
for, the grant for the
for the boiler.
boiler.
If it doesn't
Okay,
come in,
but then
then
after
we'll.
that, then you would,
Correct.
that would free that money.
I thought I
up.
would have a response by now. I put that
Yeah.
grant in over a month ago, but I haven't got a response yet. So you're absolutely correct. Then that $100,000 is left over, really to do anything you want with it at that point. But, so we could do other projects, and you can use that $100,000 to reduce the cost of the backhoe if you wanted to, absolutely.
And then, you were talking about the sewer plant, that grant, that announcement should be in the next couple of weeks. It's usually sometime in December, towards the end of
It'll be in
December.
January.
So we should,
last day they're gonna be after
Last time it was,
January.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
December,
Yeah.
so, well, we'll see,
Yeah.
whenever they're ready
Hopefully
to,
within the next month or so.
to
we'll have an
discuss
answer,
it,
yeah.
they'll
But like I
come
say,
out.
even that grant comes in, that we have them $7 million for that project anyway,
Mhm.
for all the projects at the sewer treatment plant.
All right, that's why I wanted to have Scoot come in, what was it that he wanted, that they felt best to use was the backhoe, so.
And the backhoe's the necessity, right?
Yeah.
So,
That's your priority.
yeah.
And then a building too for 600,000.
Scott, just to get back
Gotta
to
be
the.
I'm sure we can
cheaper.
get that
Just
number
get back to the
down.
building
Yeah.
you're looking to get done there. Have you had anyone give you prices to stick build it?
No, I honestly thought the metal building would be cheaper, but maybe it's not.
Because I asked someone when I was down there to give me a price on it, it was cheaper.
It was?
Yeah.
So, all right.
I just sent you Sport Tech's number, I texted it to you.
Okay,
Oh, good,
thanks.
perfect.
And I mean, there's a lot of options out there to build this. I mean, there's a lot of options. I mean, you could build, there's guys hurting for work that would do this, that's a really high price.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
Yeah, it
for a
is.
prefab
Extremely.
metal building like that on
Yeah.
a slab that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had a company come out and measure last February, and just to try to even just give us a price for a cement slab, they measured everything, they came, I contacted them 3 or 4 times, and they did all the work and never gave me a price. I don't know what the deal was, but.
And what about like the salt shed, the big dome salt shed?
Like a Quonset hut.
Yeah, it's a steel frame, but it's got rubberized fabric over it.
Yeah,
That's just
I
a
mean,
protective.
Kevlar, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's just something to house the equipment in. I don't think you could heat that.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. I've talked to people about storing the equipment, and some of the people said they recommend, even though if you're just storing the equipment, they recommend it still be heated. I don't really.
No, I don't
It'd
think
be
that's.
nice.
I don't
It's
know the.
I mean, you don't store your.
No, I don't
cars
under.
don't
I
heat it,
that
I
was
mean.
that was a recommendation,
Yeah.
and I was like, all right. I mean, so they said it was better for the vehicle. I don't know. I don't really
Yeah.
know 100%
I mean,
about
does the
that part of
calcium or
it, but.
anything get affected if it sits out? I mean, stuff
If it
like
gets
that.
wet.
If it gets wet, like calcium or
Right.
salt like that, for the salt truck, maybe I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we could decide which trucks go where. I
Yeah.
mean, the ones that need to be dry or out of the cold or
You
whatever.
can move things
but-
around seasonally when you know.
Yeah.
From there. And just another thought was, you made a good point, because I thought about it myself 2 years ago, was the gas room. Do you think maybe maybe we can look into maybe moving that? Take that down and put it in a better location?
Yeah, I mean, put it in a corner somewhere, maybe.
It doesn't need to be as big as it is now.
Give me a rundown on this gas room. I'm not really sure what it
It's
houses.
right behind the workbench.
You have
It's
to store
right
your
dead
gas
smack in
a
the middle
room
of the
that's not
garage.
out Everywhere else. It's a
Okay,
pretty good
so-
size room. What do you think, Scoot? It's about 12 by 12?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good sized room, just cinder block room with vents in it. And I guess I don't know, I think by code they had to
I
have,
think OSHA made them do
yeah,
that.
they had to have a room to store gas and oil.
Yes.
And it's probably built 40 or,
No, I'm saying, why wasn't that built outside
Right.
the structure?
oh, that, you have to talk to people 40, 50
Invented it
years
outside, I
ago.
mean, it seems
I
more
think,
logical.
I think
I gotta be-
Santulli built that, so
Yeah,
that was a while
That
ago.
goes
I gotta believe
ways.
it's probably
It was
easy-
built
Is it
during,
accessible, easy
Yeah,
to-
the
to
easy,
mechanics?
yeah,
The mechanics
absolutely.
it was
working
built
there
prior
and
to my
up to-
father being
Well,
a
you can make a
foreman.
connecting
Oh, wow.
door.
That goes
Yeah,
back.
so that goes back to Al, right?
You know,
Or,
it's rented
what was
outside.
his name?
So
The
I'm
highway
just
department.
thinking, the building right now is cement block. I don't know, masons, and I don't know, the cost of things like that. I don't know if that would be cheaper or. if
Yeah, I
that-
mean, I was going with the metal building. I just assumed that the metal building was cheaper, but
Wow.
obviously I could be wrong, but, so,
Yeah, you should price that, Teresa's right, I mean, you can go prefab or you can go block build. You can price it any way you want it, and just try and find something that's cheaper.
yeah, and it maybe went a little smaller to save money too, but I was just thinking, give it a little extra space, because then you always have that room, so. Because even right now, my car is sitting outside because we brought the plows in, not on the trucks, but we brought the plows in, so when it does snow, we can just pull the truck right up to it and put them on the trucks. And we're not standing in the snow or getting covered in snow. And that takes up the extra space where now I can't fit my car in. And even the older plow truck has been sitting outside that we're hanging on to. So, you know,
All right. Well, it's something to look into. I mean, but you could definitely shop that and, I mean, if I can be any assistance, I will, because
Absolutely,
I could,
absolutely.
I could.
I mean,
really
yeah,
get
if you
an
know
idea.
Give me names.
contractors,
Yeah,
let me
absolutely. I can
know.
get it.
Pass them names and numbers, we'll meet with them, absolutely.
Yeah, that's an easy build. That's really expensive though.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was a little shocked by how expensive it was. I didn't think it'd be that high.
Yeah, I mean, even if you were to put electric heaters in there, it would, it's still
Yeah.
it's really expensive.
Mhm. Yeah, any contacts would be great.
All right.
So, so the board will move forward with looking at the backhoe.
And we
How
also,
we can figure that out.
another thing too is that thing of making just space with what we have, rearranging some things in the garage, because we have talked about, we have the lift for vehicles right now where it's at. We have been talking, again, I never brought it up to you, but just kind of talking amongst ourselves. If we move that lift to the one garage that's closest to the playground, it's like the single bay garage. And that could, because you're limited to what you can park in that space right now because you have to fit it between the confines of the lift. So if we were able to move that lift to the other bay, it could actually possibly free up space to fit a bigger vehicle in that space. Because right now, it's in a space, if you take the lift out of there, you could fit a bigger truck in there. But if with the lift there, you can't fit the bigger truck in there. And I don't know, that's probably not something we should move, because it has to be, I mean, precise to put in there.
Certified,
Yeah.
installed by a professional.
And we would have to put new lights in that one bay, because that's the old-fashioned light bulbs in that bay, and you can't really see in there. But that's kind of an option to free up some space too.
Just look at the building, come up with a plan and present it to us, and I'm
Okay.
sure we'll have no problem approving it. Just could have a plan though.
Yeah.
Okay.
All that
You know,
one shot.
design something that works for you and benefits everybody in the building.
Okay.
You know, I'm good with it.
All right.
All right, Scoot. Anything else? Okay, good.
No.
Thanks for coming.
Anything else from you guys?
The leaf vac.
Oh, give them the leaf back.
While you're here, we did put it out on Facebook because
Yeah, I know.
people were calling and asking, and so what's the status? Where are we
Well,
today?
I'm not really happy that the leaf vac hasn't been out. Unfortunately, the impeller, which spins and sucks the leaves in and then shoots them in the back of the truck, got worn out, and a couple of the blades snapped, and so then took the balance off the vac, so the whole thing is shaking, and we couldn't run it that way, and we didn't have a spare on hand, and so we had to order one, which took a little longer to get than we had anticipated. And then trying to get the old one off, which I know when we had the old leaf vac was not easy to get off. And it was not a fun project. And this one turned out to be the same as the old leaf vac. I believe this is the first time this impeller has been taken off, this leaf vac.
How old is it?
Probably about 8 years.
2015, so it was 8 years. And so we worked on it for days. We couldn't get it off. We did everything. We ended up taking it to Little Bear, and after we hacked this thing to pieces, and it took them like 5 hours to get this off because they couldn't get it off either. And we finally got it off yesterday. And so now there was one more part we're waiting for, which is bushing for it, which was supposed to be here Monday, and it's not going to be here till tomorrow. And so that's what we're waiting for now. And so now we have, now we're gonna have this parts, extra parts waiting for us. Because you do have to change the impeller. Because this one lasted 8 years. So, but we're gonna have one on hand now, and we're gonna have an extra bushing on hand. They're already been ordered. So once we get those, they'll be stored. Because we used to have them on hand when we had the old leaf vac, but we didn't have them. I didn't realize we didn't have them, and so. But now we're gonna have them on hand, and it stinks. I mean, because now we're like a week and a half, 2 weeks behind on the leaves, and it's not really where I want to be, but we'll just have to.
Make up for lost
Yeah.
time.
Can I make a suggestion? If we're behind on the leaves because the vac hasn't been out, can we extend the part-timers for a couple extra weeks to be able to clear up the backlog of all the leaves? Is that something that's doable?
Yeah.
They normally
Then
end what,
I
mid-December?
say we go that route.
Yeah, but they're up to 4 months employees, so as long within the 4 months, it's fine, absolutely.
So I say we do that. If everybody else is in agreement with
That's
it.
good. Gotta get it done. right?
Got to get it
Yeah.
done because it affects the catch basins, and that's you don't want to be. That's not a rabbit hole you want to go down.
And also with the new impeller, it might actually work better than it had this season. I mean, it seemed to be working fine, but if you have holes in it and in the blades, it's not going to have the suction that a new one would have. So it might actually work a little faster. I mean, we're still behind, but I mean, so it might actually, the suction might be a little better too. So.
Marcus, do we have to make it? Does that have to be a resolution
Do we
to
have a-
extend
we
the
have a timeline,
part
do
timers,
we?
or can we just tell them that?
Yeah.
We did.
To the end of
So-
December.
Mid-December, I think.
So at the next meeting,
So I think that's imperative that we do that. At the next meeting.
yeah, we're doing the next, yep.
Put that on the agenda.
Okay, and then Scoot.
Yeah.
When the season's done, I'd order another set, so you have two on hand.
Well, I don't
as
think
backups.
we need two on hand. I mean, because they last for years.
All right.
I mean, we're gonna have the extra sets there. So, I mean, they're a little pricey, but you need them. And with the extra set there, we'll be prepared next time.
So let's put that on the agenda
And the
to
weather-
extend
I'm
the
just
part
checking, the
timers
weather's
so
gonna be
they
good
have
for
the
next
extra
couple
hands.
days too, so.
Oh, good.
Yep, and
And I'm hoping, since the parts come tomorrow, hopefully we'll come early, and we'll be able to get it together and possibly be out there tomorrow.
Okay.
So, I mean, because I checked to see with UPS to see if it was sitting at their place in Yorktown. I would have sent someone to pick it up, but it was sitting somewhere in Pennsylvania, and we couldn't went and got it. So,
okay.
So we'll keep our fingers crossed, and best case scenario, we're up and running again this week.
well, we should be this week. I would really.
I hope so.
So.
Better, you're gonna have to get out there with some tarps and some rakes and some blowers and start picking leaves up.
Yeah. So.
We are gonna be way behind. And Danny's right, they're packing in the catch basins now and.
I know. I mean, before last week, I had them out cleaning catch
Yeah.
basins. So.
Next year
Let's
you're
give them the
gonna have
extra
backhoe
hands.
though, and with your backhoe, you'll be able to pick
Yeah.
up piles of leaves with that and put them right in the dump truck.
We've done that with the front end loader in the past too.
Well,
So.
that's, most of the other villages in the county do that.
So.
They use loaders and leaf vacs.
Peter,
Yeah,
did you
loaders
want
have that
to
extension.
say something?
I just had a quick question with the impeller from a mechanic's point of view. Can the original impeller that's damaged be repaired?
Oh, my.
Because.
Not
is
after
it
us
that
taking it
bad?
off. No.
Oh, you made a mistake. Okay, leave it alone.
They
Just
cut
ask.
it into
Yeah.
pieces, try to take
It's
it
done.
off.
So, and I think this is a good time for a reminder for everyone out there, please, when you have the leaf piles, please do not put rocks. The leaf vac does not like rocks and heavy sticks and stuff like that. It's just, the leaf piles are just leaves.
I mean, if you guys want pictures of what the impeller looked like, I
No.
mean, we have
Also,
them.
Peter wants it.
So, I mean, I sent them to, I sent them to Marcus, and I mean, if you really want to see them, I can send them to you,
No.
Take your word
but
for
they
it.
definitely took a beating, so,
It's a shame. All right, but thank you, Scoot.
okay, that's all?
Thanks,
Thank
Scott.
I mean, I call him Scoot, sorry. I go way back with him.
Oh, I
Dan,
prefer
too.
that anyway.
Is
so-
Scoot? Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
for coming in.
Thanks, have a good night.
Okay, Marcus, next, Buchanan Engine Company, new members.
So, in your memo, gave you a list, and Stephanie just reminded me of some things that I have to make sure they apply to certain circumstances, so I'm gonna double check that. You'll approve it at the next meeting, but I'll make sure all those other issues are covered before you approve them.
All right, good.
This one says pending processing, so he might already be doing it.
Yeah, so I'll double check that, yeah.
Discussion on IMA with the County of Westchester regarding the mobile radios for the police department.
Yeah, that's
Excuse me.
another IMA agreement with the county to provide the radios. We discussed it at the last meeting as well.
Okay, good. Discussion on county grants on the EVs.
Yeah, this is something the county is pushing. Again, whatever you guys.
This came up once before, though. This is for
They're
the.
they're
and-
pushing it like crazy.
And
They-
we didn't know where to put it.
Well, that's the question. The question would be, I reached out again. They see village property, Village Hall, for example. You got the the parking lot, there's ours across from Fat Sal's. You got the post office, you got Lents Cove. So they're looking any locations where they provide 50/50 rebate, but then Con Edison and NIPER provides even more funding. And according to this gentleman who actually won the bids from the county, was that they could probably be a no cost to the village. But a no cost to the village means that they belong to you. They have a 5-year warranty, but after that, it's the village's responsibility to maintain them. The county is also pushing that you don't charge anything for the use. They're recommending you do it, but you can charge anything you want to for the use. So you can make money out of it if you want to. So let's say we pay 35 cents a kilowatt hour. You can charge $1 a kilowatt hour if you wanted to. But they recommend, the county's doing it for free. So, I mean, they're charging
Well,
stations. So-
county has a lot more money than us, too.
Correct. But other municipalities are doing it as well.
Okay.
I have my own personal feelings about that, but I'll keep it to myself. But,
I
but
think we
it-
all have those feelings.
but it-
Go ahead and enlighten us.
but at the end of the day, if there's something that you would like to look into, I'm actually having a meeting with the gentleman tomorrow to look at the areas. They want to encourage as many spaces as possible. But I told them, is somebody coming on Route 9 and drive over here? They said absolutely, because they need to charge their cars. It was a level 2 charger that they're doing. It's about $4,000 or $5,000, but they'll cover the cost of that. If the board wants to, I can still meet with him tomorrow, look at the sites. If you want to, I can just tell them cancel. I don't need to meet
At
with them
least
if I don't want
look
to, but it's
into
up to
it.
you.
Look
Up to
into
you.
it. I'm just thinking of the different places to put it, you know, you don't want to put it,
They
gonna-
like Village Hall.
well, I'm sure they do.
Mhm.
I'm sure they do, but then we don't want to lose any parking spaces
And it would have to be
either.
public. But
Yeah,
my question
yeah.
to them would be, is that if the village board does want to allow them to park on Village Hall, the busiest day is Tuesdays for the seniors. I will say, then those Tuesdays, those spaces will not be able to be used. And it's an app on your phone, it's an app that you control as the administrator, so you can say, it's not available, you can take it off the map, you can put it on the map, there's a lot of flexibility in what you can control it. So if the board wants to allow public people to park their cars here to charge, you can limit hours, you can limit days, if the board wants to consider that. Same thing with Lents Cove, or Fat Sal's, or any other public area. But it has to be public in order to qualify for the rebate from the county.
Marcus, are you familiar on how long it takes to charge a vehicle like that?
Hours.
That's correct.
Yep,
Yep.
So you'll be holding up parking spots for hours.
correct.
Yeah, it's one thing if you had a public parking garage,
And
okay?
AMS is installing
But
them.
parking in this
For their own-
village
for
is
their
already
own-
a
own
premium.
vehicle.
Yes.
You know what I
So-
mean? Parking in this village is already at a premium. Why would we sacrifice additional spaces? I mean, to me, it makes no sense.
That was my feeling,
But,
that was
hey,
my feeling in other areas where I've worked, where there is no parking anywhere,
I
and they
get-
are putting them in. So, again, it's up to the powers that be. You guys make a decision.
Well, it takes hours to charge these vehicles, and it's not like pulling up to a gas pump. you know, and you're gonna
And the,
occupy that spot for hours.
Correct.
and the demand for these vehicles is on the decline, okay? So, there you go.
So whatever you guys want to do, I, not knowing how you
Likely
felt,
decline.
I said, I mean, I
I,
can,
Yeah.
I don't, I'm not into it.
There you
Okay.
go.
Okay.
I mean, I
That
don't
takes
know
care of that
everybody else.
problem.
that,
Yeah.
cross the
No,
board?
that's fine.
I can capture the meeting
I
tomorrow?
don't know how many people actually in the village have one, and they would be charging at their house.
And, you know, for us to sit there and let somebody sit there and occupy a parking spot for hours and then
Well,
have
you're
it
gonna
be
put people
free
from
of
out of town
charge?
to do
No.
it.
Yeah, and off the highway and.
Yes.
People are coming from out of town because it's a public spot, and
Yeah.
they're just gonna drive in and park there for 2 hours to get some free juice.
Correct.
Let them
Most
hop
of 'em
off
should
the Taconic
charge at
and
their
hit the
house.
Tesla one up at BJ's.
And then, you know, you hate to put it, you know, at Fat Sal's where there's a business that ties up the parking lot there.
Yeah, I mean.
You can't do it at the highway department, you know,
Even
there's
the
no
po-
room there.
Post office, people are always in and out of
Oh,
there.
the post office is
Probably
premium
plenty of them
there.
in Croton,
Yeah.
not far from here.
Oh, the train station, I think, has them.
That do,
I'm
yeah.
almost positive, yeah.
Okay, so
Okay,
I'll
so
ca-
that
I'll-
takes care of that.
Okay, so that saves me an hour or two tomorrow. Thank you.
Yep, okay. So discussion on the refuse calendar.
Oh, so, we were working around to try to make more of a long-term goal. Right now, we've been doing month-to-month refuse calendars. And sometimes we have an issue with the postage and the mails. So I was hoping to do maybe, 3 months to start off, maybe, because in Peekskill, I won't say Peekskill, I don't know, we got a year calendar, so I put a year, I put in my bulletin board, I know exactly what everything happened to the year. If anything changes, you know, check out the website. So just to ease people into it, if the board is wanting to, they would talk about doing a 4-month calendar, quarterly. Thank you, Sharon. It'll be a quarterly calendar, and then that way they can have a 4-month calendar put on the bulletin board or on the refrigerator, and it's a 4-month calendar, and they have to worry about, oh, I got, because a lot of phone calls I get it, Sharon gets, I haven't got my newsletter yet, I don't have my calendar, I haven't had my calendar, so at least they got 4 months worth at one time, and maybe we can build it up to a whole year, and then send it out, and then have it the whole year, and then we'll put in there, please check the website in case there's any changes.
So it's one mailing every 4 months?
Well, right now, we're still doing a monthly
No, I get it,
newsletter.
if we go through with this, it'll be one mailing every 4 months.
You'll be-
I think it's brilliant.
I do too. I think it's a great idea.
Absolutely.
But the newsletter will continue, is what you're
Correct.
That should
saying.
have been done 20 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't even-
Because not everybody can plan month by month, and I think quarterly, when you look at it, especially if you
Yeah,
got
some people
projects
go
you
to
want
Florida
to
for a
kind of,
month, they want, you know.
I think it's a good idea. Go for it.
And you'll switch to the smaller
Brilliant.
paper.
Sharon, was that your
It was-
idea?
Yep.
I like,
He was
I
giving
think,
you
I
the
think.
I like it.
Take it, you can take it. That's it. Yeah, the newsletter still go out, and if anything changes on the calendar, we put in the newsletter and the announcement.
Right.
But at least the ladies can also do one big calendar for everybody and hopefully relief. Because that's the biggest current call we normally get, is the calendar
Well,
more than
now I
anything
have no
else.
reason to call.
Yep, at least for 4 months, and maybe we can go into a whole year and then send out once a year.
But we're still gonna do the newsletter,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but on smaller paper.
and that
So
would say.
instead of the larger paper, you'll do one.
Correct, and that's a
smaller.
good thing Steve stopped by, because then we wouldn't have to do the 11 by 17 paper, which is a lot more expensive,
Mm-hmm.
more folding, so we can hopefully narrow it down to 8.5 by 11, less, and there'll be less folding, less staff to get it out at the same time.
Right, good, good
You
game
guys have it
plan.
all figured out?
Good.
All right, cool, perfect.
Okay,
And
next.
thank you, Sharon, Cindy, and Scoot, and Scoot that. And Sharon did a lot of little colors and stuff in the calendar,
It's gonna be abbreviated.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
color coded and everything, so. that's
So
nice.
when would the first one go out? January?
January.
Okay, good.
That's good.
January will cover through April.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Repeat that, but you don't have the mic, so.
Oh, I'm sorry. So the first calendar goes out in January, and it'll be a quarterly, so it'll,
No, not
well, January, February, oh,
Three times a year.
4 times, okay, 3 times a year, 4 months at a time. Got it. Okay. Sounds good.
All right, perfect, thank you, guys, thank you so much.
Cell phone service. This all came about, I was talking to the fire department chief, Bob Outhouse, one day, and he was telling me there were certain situations in the village where he was having problems with cell phone service. And we've always had poor cell phone service here. There's certain areas, but now it's just gotten worse. So I know the village of Croton is looking into, their cell phone service is horrible too. There's areas, like if you're in Croton, there's just no service, and similar here. So I asked in Croton who they were talking to about that, and it's the same company that the town is talking to. So Marcus, Bob Outhouse, and myself sat down with a company and to discuss our cell phone service. And Marcus has called the different carriers, and they're not exactly customer service friendly. They don't respond.
That's correct.
So we're kind of in a situation, if our emergency services are being compromised because there's no cell phone service, that we kind of need to look at doing something. And I know it's controversial, but, you know, talking about putting a cell tower up. This company did a quick look at the village, and he did find a place that's not close to a residential area, basically behind our pool, that might help, you know, with our cell phone service. There is possibly another option, the extension of First Street behind the Highway Department. We actually have a paper road. That would have to be a whole discussion with Con Edison, but, so there are some options. And I know, Marcus, you were trying to get a hold of the cell phone companies like Verizon, AT&T, because I think another option was to put something on the different buildings. So, and you haven't gotten any response back from them?
No, the gentleman we went with has contacts at Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, all the services, so he's going to get me to contact him. He said he should have it by tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
And then I can contact them, all of them, and also tell them that also emergency services are, there's a report for emergency services as well. But at least I'll have hopefully a contact person that hopefully get back to me.
Yeah, because it seems like it's from the Highway Department, really, most of Westchester Avenue, the Circle area is really bad.
It's my house.
And Dan, right on Tate Avenue. So we're, you know, we didn't have the greatest service, but now it's, you know, so it's something, you know, we have to look into.
So was the company that you met with, I wasn't at the meeting, but is it a consulting company that works for the cell phone companies? So you have to do the legwork and contact?
Yeah, what they'll do is they are a builder of the antenna, and
Okay.
then they rent out spaces, and then they reach out and say, AT&T, do you have if they get community support from the board, then they can reach out to AT&T, Verizon, and say, okay, we got support from the public to put an antenna in this area. Would you be interested? And then they'll collect rent from them, and then we also get rent income as well from each carrier that goes on the
So
system.
there's nothing that the village has to do?
No,
to
they'll do
procure-
everything.
Okay.
The only
I know
idea-
in the village of Croton, they're also sending out surveys to the residents. I don't know if they offered that as well. Asking what carrier they have. They actually have pictures of the different, one's a tower, one's looks like a clock, a tree.
Yeah.
That's right.
And asking
They'll do all
residents for
that.
their opinion. So I
Yep.
don't know if that's something that they offered for the
Yeah,
village as well?
they said they'll help do the outreach, but they wanted to see if the board was interested if moving forward, and then to start a public outreach
Okay.
to see how the people
So they take
react.
care of all of that?
Correct, correct. And
Build
then,
the
and then we'll
tower.
get a part of the rental income as well, but they'll do the outreach, and what they said they will do to us by giving us the contacts for the carriers is, let's say, for example, that if we have a area that's not well, if they can put an antenna on a building or something like that, then at least we get services there. He said, if that works for you and the antenna doesn't work, that's fine, that's fine. The important thing is that he said he lives in the area, according to what he said, is that, well, I want to help you to get coverage in the area. If the antenna works, great. If not, and they can take care of those areas that have no poor coverage, that's fine as well. So we can have that separate communication with the carriers.
And is there any cost to the consultants?
No.
Okay.
So they'll get,
They're-
the idea is to get
They
the
get it on the
carrier.
back end.
Yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
Just making sure there's no upfront.
Absolutely.
And it
Yeah.
takes approximately, even if it was a go, it's like 2 years, you said before.
Oh, just for them to get it on the
Approvals.
work schedule and install
the
it,
approvals.
it's gotta be,
So was this consultant for emergency services? Is that what it-
No,
Because I wasn't at the meeting either.
Yeah, what they'll do, according to the discussion, was they'll go out and reach out to cell phone carriers.
So what Bob Outhouse was there, what was he there for?
Yeah, yeah.
It's emergency services. and
Well, this
he's
is
the
not an
one that-
emergency services,
But it's
They'll-
affecting them.
Yeah, what they'll do is if they go, if we put on public property, on public property, they'll put the our transmitter, the police or fire transmitter on the top of the pole.
Oh, so it does do
But-
emergency services?
Correct.
But they have their own
Correct.
transmitter, they're not relying upon any of the carriers. So it's separate.
Correct, but
They
they'll-
already have their own transmitter.
We have, but they said they can better, they'll help give us better coverage by putting our antenna, our radio communication.
On the tower.
On the top of the tower, and then put the carriers underneath, and then the carriers underneath, everybody can use, including the emergency services.
And it's not just like their own personal cell phones also. They were on a call on Second Street and there was no service. So, you know, that's important. And then, you know, it's just for everyone else too, to have cell service here in the village. I know it's been, you know, been an issue. So, I mean, it's something to look forward, you know, look into and go forward with. But yeah, the meeting was last Tuesday at 11, and I think I had mentioned, you know, that you know, I know you guys work too, so. But yeah, Bob was there because he was the one that bought it up originally. So, you know, Marcus, just go forward with that and see. You've got to do something.
Yeah, yeah, the most important thing is I'm gonna reach out and say, these are the bad areas, can you get coverage? The antenna discussion can continue later on with the board. I'm trying to get coverage for all of us first. And if we can do that with AT&T somehow and Verizon or whoever, maybe we could do that faster than the antenna.
Yeah. So we're going on 2 tracks here.
Yes.
That's fine. That's
Yeah,
good.
so we'll see what happens. So, but yeah, we need to address it. Okay, the next is, I saw it on Facebook today. They have the people who are running the St. Patrick's Day Parade and committee have officially resigned, and they're also looking for volunteers who would like to step up to do that. It's always been separate from the Village of Buchanan, so no funding would go into it. The only funding that we would put in would be, you know, for the police department, for their services.
Pretty overtime.
So this has been a tradition for many years. I hate to see it go away. I don't know if anybody's interested in stepping up to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'd love to take that on.
Okay.
I think it's a tradition in the village that should continue, and I think, I don't think it would take a lot of effort, and I think if anybody else on the board, any other residents that would like to assist,
I would-
as well as our newly hired recreation supervisor, that could
I
help
would
as
be,
well.
I would be on board as well.
2
Absolutely.
Irishmen here.
I do
will-
not want to see
What's
that.
that?
There you go.
by the
Three
way.
And an
Irishmen.
Italian man too, I would
Okay,
love to
there you
help.
go.
There's one
All
day
right.
in March.
Let's break it up a
Yep.
little bit.
We're gonna hang an Italian flag in the back there somewhere.
Somehow, some way, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, you know what, and what they used to do every year was to raise money at a dinner. It's kind of late in the game for that. I don't know what funds are still available, but the cost was really for the bands. That was the most difficult thing. But, you know, and I talked to Jackie today, I said maybe the high school band would participate. But, you know, it's kind of a set format, what they've done over the years, and,
Yeah, we could speak to them.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Well, I think we should look at a couple of things. One is we should probably move quick if we're gonna get any kind of a bagpipe band, because they're gonna get scapped up real quick. The question I do have is on their funding. They were a 501c3, I believe,
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
That was a big deal to get them into that. And if they have any funding, what would they be doing with that, if there's anything left over?
That's
Is it
right.
something that we can use? Maybe turn over, I don't know how that works under the laws on that.
When the corporation stays,
Well-
and the
well,
board of
could-
directors
could-
changes.
Right,
The
that's,
board of directors will change, that's all.
right.
Right.
That's
So
what
that
I was gonna
transfer
say.
fees, now
Yes.
we're gonna be, now if the board's running it, so to
Yeah.
speak, now is that gonna be now a public, you know, the board running it now, or is it gonna be private?
Good questions, because you're right, because they were able to raise funds because they were a 501.
Right.
And we're not able to raise funds.
No,
Do they have to still have
No.
do they still have the status of the
Correct,
501c?
correct, just
Then that,
the- you know-
the funds go into the same one.
So you have to,
So you
it'll
just
be a
have to,
new
you just
board.
have to change, a new- okay.
It'll be a new board of directors, that's it,
That's it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we have
So we have to find
make
out
them aware
what
of
the
that.
funding is, what,
Yes.
what,
I knew
if
that
they
they
have
had some money
anything
left
left on that. And then also, when we got the money from the donations this year, some of them were specific to the Buchanan Day, and some were specific for quote-unquote Buchanan events. Buchanan events or Buchanan Day, or recreational. So, you know, something we gotta figure out. All right, so.
And they go into that separate recreation fund, right? Isn't there?
Yeah.
We,
Where's that money?
if we need
Yeah.
to take money
Yeah.
out of that fund, then we could,
Yeah,
you know.
that's in the trust and agency fund.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think,
No, but they still have to have.
I'm trying to think, I think it's about $1,500.
No, the recreation fund is
So, and that's what all the fundraising was, the 50/50
I'm sorry, you
raffles.
talking about the recreation fund that we get from developers, or the money that came in for?
The donations.
For the
The
Buchanan?
donation. So when Certainty donated, it was donated under Buchanan Events and Buchanan Day.
Oh, okay.
Holtec solely towards Buchanan Day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's separate from the recreation fund, yes.
Yeah, when she said the recreation fund, I'm like, wait.
Yes, two separate.
No, I'm
things, yeah.
sorry, I meant the, the donations that came in from, thank you. Okay, what else do we have? The entrance signs, just checking what the status is of that.
Yes, I got a new rendering.
Okay, good.
I can put up on the screen. Give me a second. Let's see this one.
Okay, that's good. Got that done.
So, we discussed, do you want the blue background with the white lettering? So, I got a new rendering, if that's okay with you guys, the price is still $4,000 for the sign, $500 for installation, and then a smaller sign, which is, one second. We talked about having a smaller sign as well, and the smaller sign
I think over
is-
by Lens
is
Cove.
3 by 4.5, and that's $3,000, and same $500 for installation.
And what is the difference in the cost, Marcus?
Between the smaller
The
sign?
smaller-
$1,000.
And is it a foot small, you said, what is it, the dimensions?
It was, hold on a second.
I do like the logo in the center. That's really nice.
4 by 6.
Yeah, 6.
I'm sorry, what did you say the smaller one was 3 by?
It's 3 by 4.5. I think the other one's
I think
5.
that's 6.
The other one's
4 by
6.
6.
Yeah, the
4
other,
by 6.
yeah, that's the regular sign, sorry, that's right.
4 by 6.
It's 4 by 6 versus 3 and 4.5, correct.
And the idea, the smaller sign would go by Lens Cove and the
That's
larger
what
sign
you
would go.
guys, that's what, and the other signs will go, one will be on the Carbone, next to the Carbone property,
Which we're gonna hold off
We'll hold
until.
off on that one, and then the other one will be the gateway coming from
Blake.
Peekskill.
Yeah, we're giving up a lot of sign for $1,000.
It's a nice sign.
It's a nice sign.
Yeah.
Size, right?
It is.
You know, you're giving up a lot of sign just for
$4,000,
The
yep.
installation cost is the same.
Yeah.
Right,
That's for sure.
exactly.
Not cheap.
It looks nice.
The only thing is, the board needs to go over by Lens Cove and look to see,
Yeah.
what your
Well,
thoughts
we
over
were
where to
concerned, I think
put
everybody
that,
was
yeah.
concerned about the spacing and
Yeah.
how much,
Yeah.
because that sign has gotten beat
I
up
mean, you can
over
put
the
it in the
years,
grass
correct, Bob?
area, past the driveway,
Mhm.
on the right-hand
There's a
side.
lot of room.
There's a lot of room there, you put it
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, I think it's,
And that-
it's a matter of
and you'll be on
choice
your
as to
right-hand
where you
side.
put it.
Yeah, because
I
if it's
mean,
the bigger one,
I
then
just-
you need to,
For that price difference, I think you're giving up a lot of sign.
And there's a lot of grass there in that area you could put it in.
that
Mhm.
would look nice.
Because I originally thought the smaller one would look good over at Let's Cove too, but the pricing is just, it makes you want to just go all big.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100% on
Yeah,
that.
I mean, and the installation's the same cost.
Yep,
Yeah, so
absolutely.
we really, let's go big or go home.
That's it.
I
It's a big
agree.
open area over there with grass, so it wouldn't be
Yeah,
that big over
there's
there.
no
Sorry.
field over there.
So you wanna go with that?
Yeah, why not? For the
Yeah.
price.
Should we get the third sign over by Carbone just to have it? That way, if the price goes up, we're not gonna have to absorb it 2 years down the road, whatever it might be.
Yeah, we could buy all
We
the
can always-
signs now
we can
and
get it and
hold
store
on
it.
to one for 2 years until.
Yeah, because the price of stuff just continually is just
The pri-
spiraling out of control.
On
Yeah,
everything.
plus
That's a
you-
good point.
Then you're gonna
Yeah.
wanna try and match the paint and.
Yeah.
Hopefully next year
Yeah.
that changes.
I don't know, everything is just nuts. Look at, how long it takes to get parts and everything, and just, I don't know. We'll see what
You
happens.
get a charging station quick.
Yeah, right? Whether we want it or not.
Yeah, of course, that down your throat.
Okay, so
Um,
we're gonna get 3 signs and make them all the same size? Is that
Are we
what we're-
good?
Yeah,
sides,
yeah,
all same
yeah, I
size?
just wanted to settle that.
Good, so I'm
you know,
put that in my
what we were
notes.
doing
Perfect,
to get
3
that in
signs.
motion, because it takes, you know, it does, I know we're not gonna install it till the spring, but it just takes time for them to do that. Let's see, so I wanna go back to, the tour of Tarrytown, Marcus. I
Oh,
wanted
yeah.
you to reset that up. I spoke to the mayor in Tarrytown, and she was really looking forward to us coming. So whoever wants to come, fine, and, you know, if somebody doesn't.
Tarrytown
want
and
to-
Sleepy Hollow? Or
Yeah,
just
yeah, we
Both?
could do
Okay.
both, so if
You
you
wanna
could
give me some,
reset.
you wanna send me some dates or something?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay,
I could do
okay.
that tomorrow or tonight. Also, the tour of Certainty, if anybody is interested, I'll get some dates, I'll send it to the board.
I think that's important.
Yeah, I'd like to
certainty.
see, you know, what's going on over there, and, okay, well, so, yeah, I'll get some dates from him, and I'll get back to the board to see what works for everybody. One of the other things, I know, we've discussed this before, that the code is outdated, so I don't know if the board is willing to take this on, but, I think we can fit it within our meeting if we just take certain sections. I know, Sean had done the first, how many was it? 190 pages, yep, you remember, you got a good memory. And then Nick,
We only said it
He's-
37 times.
Oh, you didn't ever see it?
No.
You just said it, I didn't ever see it.
no, I never saw, I thought he sent it to
Spoon-fed
Marcus.
it to us.
Okay, so that took care of that, so we might have to review that. But I think Nick Zachary was on the zoning board, the chairman of the zoning board, and he said he would take that on, so I'll have to ask Nick if he still has that, you know, we can review what he put down there. So I don't think it'll take a lot of time within our meeting, and maybe we can just start slowly going through stuff. What else? Pickleball court. I haven't heard anything more on that.
So one thing that, I think we discussed it, is they have these temporary surface, pickleball courts, that can be done as a trial basis if you want to do it. That was Cindy's idea. I'll
Yeah.
pass the
I remember
ideas
that
around.
now. Okay.
And they call flex court, and they got a couple different ones. So if the board's willing to do that, we can actually place it, and what's good is movable. We can put it on top of the tennis courts, we can put it in the pavilion, and then let people try it out. And then if you get before we spend $300,000 to build something like Peachco did, and see what kind of reaction you get from that first. And then you could always even add to it later on, or then decide to go a whole pickleball court if you want to. So I can send the board some prices, there's a whole bunch of them.
Oh, okay.
There's ones you can roll out, there's ones you put together.
So you would buy these pickleball courts, these temporary ones, up front.
Correct.
See what the interest is before you buy.
Correct, and you do one
Invest
court.
in a permanent.
Yeah, you could do one court and see if you get how much of a response you get.
And Mark, is that price, the 300,000 that we're talking about, that comes from George based on his,
DeRosa, who just did a Peachco.
okay.
That's the one, it just finished, the nets are off, but you can actually drive
DeRosa
by.
is what, that's Sport Tech?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same.
Because I
they-
did speak to John Palmiato, village resident, former Town of Cortland recreation supervisor, and the price that they have for their pickleball courts, I think the ones on Croton Avenue, is a fraction of that.
Oh,
And it
find
was
out who the
Sport Tech.
contractor
It was
was.
Sport Tech.
It was
You give me
them
the
too?
name of the guy in charge.
What is the surface on the, what is it?
It's asphalt.
Is it asphalt?
Yeah.
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 $300,000 for a pickleball court?
I mean, the fence around the tennis court doesn't, you know, it seems
Yeah.
like it's in good shape.
One pickleball court is like 1/4 the size of the tennis court.
Right. There
Right,
isn't
so-
much,
Maybe the
I
way it's
think
300,000,
ours,
but
you know,
they built so many in Peachco, maybe, that's what it
Could be.
was?
yeah.
So, yeah.
Man, I'd love to get that asphalt.
Yeah. So we could do one tennis court into 4
Yeah, let's see
pickleball
what
courts and see
Right.
what that cost would be, and just do one
It
tennis
does seem
court.
like an awful lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
It's
said,
about
I'm gonna call him
40,000.
by the building, I
Oh,
can
you
call
know
him
why
to
it
give me a price
costs
for
more? Remember what
pickleball
George
court.
said? There was a problem with the tennis court. Was it sinking?
Yes,
Marcus,
it's
do you
sinkhole
remember?
there,
There was
that's one
some-
sinkhole, yeah.
There was some.
Didn't they
some
backfill it
thing.
though?
Yes, they did, they filled
They
it back
repaired
in.
it.
Okay, so it's not sinking again, so.
So I can give the Rosso a call, and we'll talk to him about the building,
good.
and say,
Yeah.
take a look at the tennis court, you wanna do one tennis court to 4 pickleball courts, what the price of that would be. But at the same time, you still wanna look at the flex court and just see what kind of reaction, whatever the board wants to do.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So next Tuesday, we'll have a little more discussion on the St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Sure.
What we need to do, and I'll speak to the people that were doing it the last couple of years, the Keenans, and see, you know, what everything is, and then we can start coordinating everything, get that done. Because before you know it, that's all I have. What else? Anybody have anything else?
I got a few
What
things.
about you,
after
Marcus?
The board can go first, of
I
course.
just have one thing, I want to get back to the capital projects.
Okay.
We're talking about it, are we gonna make any kind of move on going forward with this, these, we can order our equipment?
Well, the backhoe, I guess, is a go, and I think we're just, my understanding is we're just kind of waiting to see what's going on with the grant. So if that 136,000 is available from Entergy, then we don't need that much more to, to buy that outright.
Well, I'm only asking because, we're looking at possibly a fire truck, a plow truck, right there alone is a lot of money.
The dump truck.
I think,
They take time.
Yeah.
my feeling is,
I
I
agree
think,
with
we need to move forward with the backhoe. I mean, that's, I think is, okay, in the very least. So I think we should just,
Go for it, Dan?
that's my opinion.
But I think what Bob's point is,
Yeah.
we have to discuss how the funding is going to take place, because if we, if we don't receive the grant money, then what do we do? If we
Marcus
receive the
is
grant
trying to
money,
bond it together with
and
a
if not,
large enough amount.
do we just go ahead and bond,
Yeah,
for
and-
several items at once?
And I'm just thinking, being proactive, if we buy these pieces of equipment that needs to be replaced, we're good for 15 years.
No, Marcus.
At least-
Not here in the Village of Buchanan.
Those are the I
Bob,
mean,
tell
you
him,
buy-
30 years. We get 30.
Yeah, that's even better, but I'm saying, if
Excuse
we
me.
get this stuff down, it's sunk in the budget, it's a 1.5% increase over 2 years, we can plan accordingly, we can tell the public, and then we're set for 15, 20 years with the piece of equipment we need. And I think we're in pretty good shape that way, so. And that way, you're done, but if you do this now, then you're gonna have the dump truck next year and the years there for that, then you got the pickup truck, and just keeps on adding, where you're gonna get the money from, so. If we bound
Those are
everything
big
together,
ticket
it's done.
items.
Well, that's part of my concerns. I know one of the biggest ticket items is the fire truck, and how everyone feels about getting one or not, I'm not really sure. But, I know that they're looking to get a fast track truck, not they're gonna have to spec one out, they're really, I know the guys are doing a lot of work looking into that. It's just something that, we have to be ready to move on if they find a fast track truck.
Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah. So, it's something's gonna have to be replaced sooner or later.
Right, yeah.
And we're already putting money into it now, so.
It's just like a pumper.
So Marcus, Marcus, question.
Yes.
If someone looked at to come up with a fast track truck, I said it good that time, how would we go about finding what's behind getting that?
So what we can do, if the board is willing to do that, and you get some before, we can do a bond resolution, we do a ban. The ban is not due till next year, and then what happens when the ban comes due, at the same time, we can call it early and turn it into a bond and do long-term finance with all the other projects we have to move forward on. So
if
financially,
it's-
I don't think we have a problem.
What are the rates now? Because, the interest rates on housing, the mortgages and stuff. And the bands, sometimes if you get a good rate, you can do them up to 5 years before it goes into a bond.
Yeah, bands are about 3%, a bond is about 5% right now.
And those will probably come down.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying,
Eventually.
I wouldn't borrow the money now, we'll borrow the money like in June or July of next
And-
year.
And what was the increase to the budget, with this, all the equipment?
Oh, with all the equipment, it'll be a 2.5% increase over 2 years,
Over 2 years?
yes.
Now, that's the backhoe,
That's backhoe, the
truck?
fire truck, the
plow truck,
the plow truck and the dump truck, everything,
4
Whole
pieces.
shebang.
correct,
4 pieces, right?
that's correct. And do 1.5, and you're done. And that's what, we estimated 5%, their extra interest rate right now for, what bond for us is like 4.5, but we had additional 50 basis points just to be on the safe side. And if it comes out lower, if you do a bond resolution, we can always borrow the money faster if the interest rate went down. But I wouldn't do it in June or July, next year, that will get 2 years to actually start paying for it.
And hopefully the economy comes back to normal, whatever normal is anymore.
Stop sharing, so.
We'll see.
Next November.
I was just gonna say, that's coming up.
We'll see. I don't know.
I had one thing. The phone announcement service, blast email service that we have, how are we charged for that? Because I almost feel like we're underutilizing it. Do we?
Oh, the code red.
Is it,
The code red?
The code red. Is it? Do we get charged per
Yes.
every
Cindy
time
does.
we send a message out?
No,
or-
it's
No.
about 2,500 a year.
So
a
then
year.
we, in my opinion, I think we should be using it for, like, the Christmas tree lighting announcement,
I was gonna do that Friday.
the Santa run for the firehouse that they do. Any kind of special event, I think we should be, I think we're underutilizing what we're paying for.
When we first got that, when Entergy was here, they were paying for it. Correct.
Well, I think if we're paying that, let's utilize it. That's,
So going back to Bob's original question, if the board is considering that, we can do a bond resolution for the next meeting, or you want to discuss it more, because you have to adopt the bond resolution first before we do anything. So the idea is that's something you want to consider, so I can get the bond council to do a bond resolution for these projects, for these items, or you want to discuss it more? And if you want to do everything,
Well, if we discuss it more, then you're stalling the backhoe purchase.
Right.
Which is a priority.
Yeah, they need that.
So I mean, in my opinion, I think we should move on it. I mean, if
We could
the
always-
fast track engine comes in, you
You're
have to
set.
be ready for that.
Correct.
I mean, there's no reason to stall anymore.
correct. And just to let everybody know, if we do a bond resolution, doesn't mean we have to borrow the money. If the village board wants to
Right.
need to take money out of
right,
cash to pay it
it's
off.
like a
you pay it.
prelim. We're just setting ourselves up. for-
Correct.
Yeah, I mean,
Have
it's
it
like
available,
a
yeah.
line of credit, so.
If we
you're
don't-
That's
ready to-
correct.
Yeah,
That's
just
correct.
ready to use it when it's there, it gets there when you need it.
And if we don't do it next Tuesday, then it's another month
Yeah.
Correct.
down the road, so.
That's
So
correct.
if the board is willing to move forward with that, then, have that on
Yes.
the agenda.
Okay, so we'll put that
I'm
into,
good with it.
okay.
You guys good with it?
I'm good with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I'm
All
fine.
right, I have to make an announcement.
Okay.
I have to leave because it's my daughter's 15th birthday.
Oh,
She's
congratulations.
Oh, well, she's having cake now.
Oh, then, we're done, so we're
No, the
good.
party's down the
We're
street,
good.
the kids running.
No, I got a
I
couple
did-
things.
Oh,
I
I'm
got a
sorry,
couple
Marcus, that's
I-
right.
He's gonna go.
Yeah, you gotta
I
go.
have to go.
Okay.
Have a good night. Have a
She's
great
not gonna-
party.
she's gonna be
Enjoy your
Have a
daughter's
great party.
birthday, Cap.
And Sharon's giving me eyes over there because I told her I was leaving. All right, good night, everybody.
Okay, have a
Thank you.
good time.
Good
Have a good
night.
night.
What do you have, Marcus?
Okay, so a couple of quick things. We discussed, I brought it up before about a sewer connection fee. Since other municipalities have a sewer connection fee for new developments. We don't have one. So City of Peekskill,
Cindy, because the school connected, so we don't, because the
That-
school, not, to-
Connection fee, yeah.
yeah, we had a fee for them when they connected after they built that building on Charlie Road.
that was outside the village though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was outside the village.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm thinking we have two potential developments at least, another development. So the City of Peekskill charges $600 as a sewer connection fee. So it's just yeah, that's one of the highest ones, to be honest with you. It's just a connection fee they're gonna connect on for review. So if that's something the board would like to consider, I would like to have just a motion to add that to a fee schedule. That's it.
Okay,
I say
Now, if you
yes.
want to hire, that's fine, but I just want to throw a number out there.
okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we're gonna add that to the agenda. Welcome signs, we discussed that. The paving is done for this
Yeah,
year. So the items still left to be done. There's two driveway curbing on Lake Street, driveway curbing on one home on Woods Court, drop curb, handicap requirement on Broadway. I think that was just completed, so we're fine there. Henry Street catch basins and the road paving still have to be done. Gallagher, Craft Lane, and the White Street sidewalk across from the park. All that will be scheduled to be done next spring, plus anything else we have to get on. So that's the list that has to be done. I just want to let you know about that.
I'll tell you one thing, I think that this company did a really good job, because normally,
you like
I have a
Yes.
problem with the middle section with the crack ceiling,
So
because
you like them.
sometimes, but what they did is, there's no opening on
No,
these,
they-
on
they
these
did a nice
roads.
job.
So they did a good
Yeah.
job this time, huh?
Yeah,
I gotta
no,
tell them that.
Buchanan Avenue turned out nice.
Yeah.
So also, I want to let the board know that we had the county and the state review of the sewer treatment plant. Everything passed glowing colors.
Good.
They actually told the new inspectors, they were looking at the records, that this is the best the sewer treatment plant has been in as long as history can tell back on the
That's
record. So,
wonderful,
which
yeah.
is very good news, so,
Yeah, because we had, a ways back, we had some issues.
yep, so
So
that.
I'm so
that's
glad
really-
to hear that, good.
The
They're doing
only
a good
other-
job over there.
The only other thing I want Peter to explain is he's going back and forth with the gentleman at 3151 Albany Post Road with the property maintenance, that the board might have to take action on that one. I don't know if it's been.
That's the
yeah,
house?
Yep.
Yeah, that's Mr. Preston.
So wanted to give the board an update on that, which is really not
I
much.
spoke with Mr. Preston the other day. I've been in constant contact with Mr. Preston. There was a contractor that he's been dealing with, and the contractor had not sent him the proposal to give him the deposit to move forward. And the contractor stopped returning my phone calls, but then he discussed with the contractor 2 days ago that he is going to send the proposal so they can start moving forward again. You know, I had given multiple contractors to the owner to move forward. This gentleman, they worked out a price together, and it's been 8 weeks. And there was a disconnect. The contractor was not reaching out to the owner to supply the invoice for the owner to send the deposit to him. And the contractor, when I last spoke with him, said, "Oh, he hasn't sent me a deposit." And the owner's like, "He hasn't sent me the invoice." So now they've both gotten back in touch with one another, and I sent multiple emails to Mr. Preston to be on top of it, and I informed him as of last week, we have a meeting tonight, and if I don't have an answer before tonight, then the village will have to move forward and lien the property with the work that needs to be done, because it's been an considerable amount of time. So he contacted me, and he said, no, I've been calling him and calling him and calling him, and he finally called me back, and he's sending me the invoice. I said, you need to let me know, because the board has no more patience for this. You know, we need to move forward. We want it cleaned up. Mr. Selleck's property has
Excuse me,
been,
can you confirm it with the contractor, or is he just gonna keep doing it?
the contractor hasn't called me back.
Because he's been doing this for,
Well, the contractor.
Yeah, he needs a drop dead date, that's it.
Yeah.
It's, enough's
I know.
enough,
and he blames
okay?
everybody else.
Yeah, enough's enough, that's
I
my
understand.
opinion. I mean,
And
I don't
Mr.
know how
Selleck
everybody else
also-
feels, but,
No, yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that whole area over there, it's gotta be addressed.
Yeah, Mr. Selleck has been addressing it.
Yeah,
He's
no,
been out
I
there
noticed the difference.
working. Yes, I know. And it's the same contractor doing that work, by the way.
Oh,
It's not
really?
this
Yeah,
Mr.
so
Selleck.
how is
the
it
same-
getting done there, but
Yeah.
not on the,
Again,
okay,
this is my
500 feet up the
upsetment.
street? So you tell me.
I know.
So
I'm
he needs a
trying
drop
to get an
dead
answer.
date.
Peter
That's my opinion.
spend way too much time with this.
I know.
Yep.
I think we should just drop the ball and get
Yeah.
everything, tie the same contract, and we pay for them, and then
Yeah.
we add it to the tax bill. That's all.
Yep.
But the board has to approve that process.
Yeah.
So, on the agenda?
Okay, then.
Yeah,
I made it very
That might
clear.
get the-
Yep.
might get him
Yeah,
in contact with the
absolutely.
contractor.
Well, they are, and they've discussed, and now he's supposed to send me a
So
proposal.
you can now go back and tell him
All right,
what was
I
just
will.
decided upon.
That's where we are. I've been trying.
Thank you,
Sure have
Peter,
I
I
I
know.
mean, enough's enough, really.
I sent it to you.
I know,
I know.
and you're very clear, and the guy,
I tried. So,
No, I know you try to work with people, but,
No, but sometimes we're too nice.
I know.
And we're
I-
taken
I-
advantage of in certain situations. So
Yeah.
in this situation, enough's enough. That's my opinion.
so, there's your direction.
It's my direction. But I'm very happy that Mr. Selleck has moved forward,
Yeah.
with the same contractor, by the way,
that's right.
and have been cleaning it up.
All right, good.
So my last item is the planning board has finished the review process for the Carbone project, which is Village Square. They closed the public hearing at the last meeting. They could be considering a site plan resolution, a special permit at the December, when's the December?
20th?
20th meeting. There was a 10-day comment period that has passed. One neighbor issued some comments, so that's being responded to by the applicant. So if everything goes well, that process should be finished. And then AMS will be coming to the village board at the 19th.
Yeah, we
Yes.
changed the date.
The 19th,
because
December
it was-
19th?
Yeah.
Yep.
Again, to provide you with almost the same presentation to the planning board, more detailed plans and stuff like, the board received their site plan application information. So if there's any comments on it for that meeting, it'll be great. And also, AMS also presented to the planning board. The planning board has 45 days to provide their comments. They'll provide their comments at their next meeting, December. And then they'll be giving you comments back for your consideration, probably for your January meeting.
so we'll get those sometime in January?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. As soon as they finish probably Dave will draft up whatever comments or issues or suggestions they have. It'll be given to you right after their December meeting, so you have it for consideration for your January meeting.
Great.
And
Thank
get
you.
that process rolling as well on that. Was there anything else on the, that's it, right? Okay. All right. I think that's it for me.
All right, the only thing I want to mention is this Sunday at 6 o'clock is our Christmas tree lighting, our annual Christmas tree lighting out at the Circle. So please come out. We'll have hot chocolate and lots of raffles.
Mayor, I just
Yes,
have one
sir.
thing. We discussed for a few months, and I don't think we ever came to a resolution on the winter parking. I just wanted to see if there was any, any further discussion that the board would like to have. I've looked into it, a few different municipalities. I know the Village of West Haverstraw, they, a couple years back, they eliminated the ban on overnight parking. And kind of to Dan's point with using the code red, there's a code red notice that's put out whenever there's snow projected and the cars have to be off the road. And if they're not off the road, they're ticketed. So, I don't know if that's something we may be interested in doing.
I know what your feelings are, Bob. Because Bob lived the life, so he knows. If we have a winter like we had last year, that would just be phenomenal. But, you never know with Mother Nature.
If you have to have a public hearing, so I don't know if you want to, if the board wants to call for a public hearing at the December meeting for January,
We're
and,
amending the code?
to change the winter parking.
I forget what it says in there.
Starts this Friday.
I know.
Yeah, December
Yeah.
1st.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At
Can
one
modify
time,
the
it was November
November.
15th, and then we changed it to December 1st, and then we shortened it on the spring end by like 15 days.
Eliminating, changing it, she's
Just
asking-
removing it.
yeah.
Removing it, and when we could put either whether it's an inch, 2 inches, all cars have to be off the road, and there'll be a code red announcement that's made, Facebook, website, everything. It all comes down to compliance. If you look just a few months ago when, Westchester County really cracked down on the commingled in the bag, the first day that our DPW didn't pick up the commingled because it was in plastic bags, you went up the street, there was bags everywhere. The next week, and the next time commingle was, everybody complied. So it's really just about compliance. I think if a couple cars were out on the road when it snowed and they got ticketed, next time they won't be.
And I think that's the other thing, I think Chief discussed that the fine is only $25, he would
Right,
recommend
that-
increasing the fine.
We'd have to change that.
Yeah,
It's fine.
absolutely,
Yeah.
we'd have to change that.
So we're keeping it in our code, we're just changing it. Somebody needs to tell me, all right. I'll call
notification.
Well, it's in the code currently, it would have to be or amended or
Are we
modified or
amending
removed.
it, or are we removing it? Are we repealing it? And then just doing a
You're
code
basically
red thing?
eliminating it, but you're
We're limiting to
saying
certain
that-
streets, though, too, was
Yeah.
the discussion. So you didn't want to have it on Lindsay, you didn't want to have it on
Yeah,
Tate, you
Lindsay's
didn't want to
hard.
have it on Westchester.
So the only question, Steve, would be like, if we
I'm
send a
still
code
not
red out
understanding
and
what we're
everyone's
doing,
not
do you?
on code red,
Well, that's
that's the problem.
That's
Well,
true,
The
too.
other problem is, just a question, 'cause I don't know what the answer
Yeah.
is, I'm gonna ask you, maybe you know it, but if, like, in, what you say, Haverstraw?
Mhm.
They did it and they gave everyone code red, or whatever they gotta do, they have to be off the road. What if it doesn't snow, do they still get a ticket?
Well,
It just
yeah.
happens when those storms that they don't get any snow. Things like that are kinda, because, it's, you're asking the cops to write tickets, that's all.
Yeah.
But-
Well, it'd be
Like I
kind
said,
of,
I
it would be
mean, come
almost
on,
as-
that's
it'd
common,
almost
but
be
that's
as-
common sense, that's discretionary, like,
Well,
the cops.
It would be
I
as,
I know it's discretionary, but at the same time, you're asking people to do things and.
it'd be the same thing as the
We have to
village
figure out a way to get it.
declaring a state of emergency. It's a state of emergency, you have to be off the road, whether it snowed or it didn't snow, they're, technically, they could get ticketed.
Right. Right, like I said, my biggest question with that all is making sure everyone gets notified.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
if people are gonna play stupid, I don't have code red.
I don't know if, I don't know if
That's true.
everybody is
And that's-
is on code red,
And I think that's
because then
something-
it doesn't always
something
go
we
to a
have to do our
cell
best to try to get
phone
the
or
information
a
out there.
home phone, or, I'm just not
I
sure.
think Cindy suggested that a couple months ago about doing a push to make sure that people put it out there on the newsletter and social media and our
It's
website.
in the newsletter every month.
And then you got renters,
Yeah,
which
that's it,
they'll
too.
be the hardest
Yeah.
to contact.
So I think what Stephanie is asking is, if you got more, whatever detail you want, so we can work
You
on.
do want to have a section about winter parking in your code, you just don't want it to be what it says now.
Correct.
Or are you just
The-
removing it,
No,
repealing it?
what he's talking about, what I understand is modifying it with the winter parking between this month and this month. You're allowed to park in the street unless there's an
Correct.
inch, a reported inch of
Well,
snow.
we-
And
What's
then,
another bad road to park on?
Determine.
and right now, it's a $25 fee, it might be a
Yeah.
$100 fee.
Yeah, no, it's not
Fine.
parking
Unless
there.
there's
I mean,
an
there's
inch of
one
snow.
house.
People are
There's people
in their
parking on
bed
Tate
and
Avenue
there's an
now.
inch of snow.
It'll be done,
Overnight.
it'll be done in advance. So if they're predicting snow on
Cook's
Wednesday,
building, right across
we
the
put a
street from
notice
me.
out on Tuesday.
The tenants
We're
park
gonna
on
be trying-
right
I
there.
didn't even notice it.
I know.
The
Or
lady,
if they're
the
not gonna
lady,
get ticketed.
we have to
I
put a
gotta
notice
figure out
out.
how to write this.
So what's
the
gonna
onus is
be
on
the
the village
direction to the police department, because it officially starts on December 1st? It still is the code.
Until the law changes, the law is the law.
Yeah.
Still, yes, right.
Yeah. Is there a sample? I know,
On their website.
Lindsay.
was that
Broadway,
Austin?
Lindsay.
West Haverstraw.
West Haverstraw, that's the one you like?
Yeah. It was simple.
Is
that
We
similar-
talked
Yeah,
about a
let's
lot
keep
of
it
different,
West
yeah, scenarios and a lot of
I'm good with
different
that.
things. They made it
Okay.
very easy.
Oh, West Haverstraw, okay.
Just, if it snows, you have to have the cars off the road. If you don't, you're gonna get ticketed.
Right, okay.
And that, you know,
What
Okay.
if
It
it
was
snows
easy.
unexpectedly in the middle of the night? What happens?
I guess you have to watch the forecast. If you
Yeah.
think it's gonna snow,
Move it,
I
Yeah.
would move it. Yeah.
move it.
Even though they're wrong all the time, whether,
That's my point.
that's what you,
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
move it to be safe, or else get a ticket.
You know, I'm just concerned about, you know, some of our worst storms the last few years have been ice, not even snow.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is a good point, so you
ice
can't say
is-
snow, but then you can have icing condition, you're right.
That's the worst, there's worse than snow, just ice. You can't get up certain roads.
yeah.
Okay, West Haverstraw
We'll
is a
figure
good
it out.
example, okay.
I think that West Haverstraw was very similar to Croton's, if I remember, right?
Is it?
Yeah, yes, Croton has the same.
Yeah, same, it's the same thing.
Blakely?
Yeah, Croton has the same thing, but they have municipal lots that they allow parking permits.
Yeah.
Right.
We do that with the lot out here, you know, that everything, you know, there's people across from Fat Sal's, so they'll park in the lot next to us here, so. And you know what I'm just thinking else too, Dan? Blakely Avenue, you can't park on Blakely Avenue.
No, there's no,
So on
unless you're
list,
on
we're
that
gonna
one
look for
side of the
streets
street.
that have-
Yeah, where
still
the
have
clay
cuts
hole,
off.
where they have it cut out.
Right, we're gonna have a list of streets. I
Yeah, that's
guess,
really kind of
so
off
you
the
can't
street
have any-
anyway.
Right, that's what
Yeah.
you're
Right.
talking
It's
about, right?
designed for those houses.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So no
Unless you
parking
use
at
the
all? Or no parking
municipal
with
No,
lot
GDs?
with the
across from
parking
Ritz.
conditions
Yeah.
that are
That's
now
it.
remain in
Let
effect
them
on
use
these
that.
specific
That's what everyone
streets.
Yeah,
They do now anyhow,
yeah.
Yeah.
even though we
Yeah.
have a
Why would we
code
do it
that
that
says
way?
not to, but.
Because the streets are so narrow that
Well, I
No,
think,
there's no
you
business
can't
there
file
now.
a call.
right, I think, you know, from a standpoint of the police,
Correct.
they should just know, listen,
So either way, we have to have a
snowstorm, they're
public
gonna
hearing.
park there, let them park there until the
If we're
snow's
modifying, we
cleared,
set up a
That's
public
all.
hearing, modify it, right?
you know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I have to rewrite it, give it to
Yeah.
you within 30 days, and then you,
okay.
so you have that month to look at it, and
Okay.
then you pass it. So you'll call for it at this Tuesday?
Yes.
Nothing on the agenda. Any, we're all set, the board's all set. Any comments from the floor? Hi, Eileen.
I wanted to go home.
Not necessarily for the board, yet.
Okay.
Cindy, we have the sexual harassment and bullying and whatever, is that coming due?
As soon as I can get to it, Eileen, I will
Okay.
send it to you.
Well, it's November, so it's almost December, we'll get it January, and it'll be due the 31st.
Exactly. She says no.
Marcus and Sharon, I'm wondering, can you send the planning board and the zoning board, can we go on NICOM for credits for?
Absolutely.
Okay. Could you send us a little memo, how we get into that, or what do we do, blah, 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 since the first of the year is coming over?
Sure, no problem, no problem. You got my, you received my last email about some training classes, right? That was-
Yeah,
okay,
that
good,
that was the beginning of November, I think
Yep.
it was, yeah. No, I've done, those, but I just wanted to know what was available up at NICOM, and I've done Rockland, but that's not always so great.
I'll contact them, and all you gotta do is set up a username and password, and then you'll be able to get on directly to their website. So I'll see if, we'll take care of that tomorrow.
Okay. My last question is, when are you going to look at the expenses and all the rest of it for the budget? Is that start in January?
January, February, yes.
January, February?
Mhm.
Do you have any idea? I mean, you were talking about a 1.5 if we do a bundle to a bond.
The good news is, as we discussed it at the last meeting, is we're good for the next year because we still have the pilot and the cessation fund. It's the year after that we start to get issue when we get a new pilot done. So next year, unless something drastically happens, we have the contracts in place. I just got the health insurance increase, I already got the retirement increase, which is pretty close to what I budgeted for, so hopefully there'll be no surprises at this point.
Okay, so January, February?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. I think we're good. I think we're done. All right, so thank you. I'd like to make a motion to close the meeting. Oh, I'm sorry. What did you need? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, thank you for reminding me. We've had a videographer for many, many years here. My gosh, I think it's over 20 years, Mike Miner. And he always does a great job for us. And his mom passed this week, so services will be the next couple of days. So, you know, Mike has been part of our team for many years, so, you know, condolences to the family and to Mike. Also, don't forget the tree lighting. And Eileen, I hope you're there doing the hot chocolate again.
I haven't done it since you left the kitchen.
Oh, okay.
outside.
Well, there's going to be hot chocolate outside and also inside this year. So anybody that comes back after will have hot chocolate here too.
All right, do you want me to get in touch with Jackie?
Yeah, if you could. Yeah. No, it's everything's pretty much set, so we're doing good. So, thank you. So, thank you everyone for coming and have a great Buchanan day.
Close the meeting.
And close the meeting. I'm sorry. I got interrupted by hot chocolate too. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And have a great Buchanan day.